the previous section, we talked about scatter plots, and how to draw those, and then drawing the line that we felt fit the best. However, the problem is that everyone's line was slightly different since we were just eyeballing it. So today, we're going to be talking about linear regression, which is one method to get the best fit line, which is the most precise line of fit found in algorithms on a calculator or a computer. So linear regression is the one we're going to be talking about. There are others. That one's the most common. So when you're talking about linear regression, you have this thing called the correlation coefficient, which is the letter R. Now the correlation coefficient is between 1 and -1. It shows a positive correlation if it's a positive number and a negative correlation if it's a negative number. Now the closer the correlation is to 1 or -1, the better the fit to the data. So if it was like 0.2, that wouldn't be a very good fit because that's pretty close to 0. Or if it was like 0.99 or -0.99, those are really close to 1 or -1, so those would be really good fits. So the first thing I'm going to do is talk to you about linear regression using our TI-83 graphing calculators. You can do this with the TI-84 as well. However, when you're doing things that have years, like this table below, and we're talking about money made by movies, okay, it doesn't make sense to do that for all years. So it does make sense maybe to start in 2000. Maybe that's the only time that this data fits. So I'm actually going to say year 2000 is year 0, 2001 is 1, 2002 will be 2, and so forth. So, to do this on the graphing calculator, let me get mine up so you can see that. The first thing, once you turn it on, is to make sure that your diagnostics is on. So we need to turn on our diagnostics. Diagnostics, I think I spelled that wrong. Just so that we can see what the correlation coefficient is. Let's just make sure we can see R. So to do that, we have to go to our catalog. So it's second, and then 0 has the catalog. Now the alpha should already be turned on, and since diagnostic is the letter D, I'm going to click this so that it goes down to the D's. And you're going to go down until you see diagnostic on, not off. We want it on. And once that has the arrow next to it, hit enter, and then enter again so it says done. Okay, so we want that turned on. Now, we're going to put this data into our calculator so that we can get our best fit line. So to do that, we're going to first hit the stat button and then edit. So stat is right here next to the arrow keys. And then edit's already highlighted, so you just have to hit enter. And that brings you to your list 1 and list 2. Now yours might have some data in there. If it does, just go to the up arrow so your list is highlighted. Hit the clear button. Do not, I repeat, do not hit the delete button. Hit the clear button and then enter, and it will clear it out. And then you can scroll over to list 2 and do the same thing. Clear, enter, and it will clear that out. So list 1, in list 1 we're going to put our X values, or our years. In list 2 we're going to put our income. So it's helpful when you're doing this to just type in one number at a time. Okay, and then hit enter. So we're only going to do the X values first, so 0, enter, 1, enter, 2, enter, and so forth till you get down, so all of them are in, down to 9. Okay, and then you can go over to list 2 and enter our number 7.48, 8.13, and so forth. once you have all of them entered, make sure they're lined up on the bottom and there's not an extra one on either side. If there is, then it's going to be giving you an error when you try and run this. So after we've entered all of our data, right, we're going to hit, okay, I should have put enter data on here. Step 3, we're going to hit the stat button again and then scroll over to calc. So stat button, over to calc. And then we're doing linear regression. So on this calculator, that's number 4, lin reg. So we're going to scroll down to that and hit enter twice. Now if you have a newer calculator, you might have to go down to calculate and then hit enter again. So this gives us a bunch of numbers. Y equals ax plus b. A is this number, and then we'll end up finding that b is 8.088 and so forth. R squared we're not going to worry about. R is our correlation coefficient, so it's 0.875. So that's pretty close to 1, so it's a pretty good fit. So our equation, okay, this is just like mx plus b, but the calculator uses a instead. So we need to put the numbers in for a and b. So our equation, and we're going to round to 3 decimal places, is y equals 0.232x plus 8.089. That's our equation. So now if it had said, hey, find the value in the year, or how much money we made in the year 2020, that would be 20 years after, so you could plug that in for x and see how much money we made. Okay, so that's how you do that on the graphing calculator. Now you could graph it if you wanted to see what it looks like if you hit graph. Now we did a statistic, so you'd have to hit zoom 9. Now if you didn't see anything, you want to hit second, y equals, and turn your stat plot on. So you can see mine's off, that's why I can't see anything. So I need to enter and then enter again to turn it on. And then I can hit the graph and I can see all of my graphs. I'm going to hit zoom in again. So that's what that looks like. Now if I wanted to see my line, I could type that in, y equals 0.232x plus 8.089. And then hit graph again, and you can see the line going through those points. Now, not all of you are going to have a graphing calculator at all times, so I'm going to show you quickly how to do this with Desmos online graphing calculator. It's a free graphing calculator online. So if you have a computer, you can do that. There's also a Desmos app, so you could download that as well, and then it doesn't take any internet once it's downloaded. So if you go to desmos.com, you can hit start graphing. Okay. So we need to get our data, so you go to this add item. Okay, so once you get to Desmos, you need to add an item. And we're going to add a table. So we have x1 and y1. So just like in our graphing calculator, we're going to type these numbers in, but for 2000 we're going to use 0, 1, and see, now it started filling it in for me, so that's nice. So I can just keep hitting enter until I get to 9, and I don't have to type those in, because it figured out there was a pattern. Now for the y's, I'm going to have to type those in. So let me do that quick, and then we'll be back. Alright, now that I have all of these graphed, okay, you can see those actually, it graphs those over to the right. So I added my table. Now I need to do my equation. So since the variables in the top are x1 and y1, when I write my equation, it's actually going to be y1, and I'm going to do a x1 plus b, just because that's what the graphing calculator does. You can pick any variables for your a and your b, like except for like x and y, obviously, because we're using those. You also can't use e because that's used for something else. So because this is not all going to be, these points aren't exactly equal, we use this like tilde sign, which is to the left of the 1 on your keyboard. So that's what we need to type in next on here. So we're going to do y, and you can just type y1, it'll automatically subscript that for you. Okay, that tilde a x1 plus b. And then it just automatically tells you your R 8.8755, okay, your A 0.232, B's 8. So if you go back to our previous example, which is the same one, it gives us the same A and B values, so our equation would be the same. So that's just the other way that you can get your equation. If you don't have a graphing calculator, you can use this app or online on the computer. So pretty easy. Just remember that you have to use the sub on the x and y, since the top of our graph has x1 and y1. And then the approximate, the tilde sign, since it's not going to always be equal. Also, the nice thing about Desmos is it automatically graphs that for you. And then you can see the points in the line pretty easily.